My name is James Guitar. All right. I do community development work here inside Cartagena, as well as other countries throughout the world. I have some family connections that are here. And so what we're doing is trying to improve the quality of education, nutrition, health issues, as well as improve the neighborhood so that kids can have greater levels of opportunities and greater levels of social advancement. And so it's great to have access to an audience such as yours, because what it does is that it allows for people to have a broader understanding and perspective of all of what Cartagena has to offer. So we're going to go around the corner here and enter inside the Black community, and then we're going to talk more about Colombia as a whole, Cartagena in specific, as well as people of African descent that are here inside Cartagena. So let's join together and let's go see what this looks like.
Okay.
Very beginning, you can see that there are issues that relate towards that
plumbing,
water flowing and plumbing. Right. So we're going to climb around on the outside. ¿Cómo estás?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So what you have a situation where you have different levels of income disparity that exists inside the city. But it's a city that has enormous levels of culture, art, and history. And what we're trying to do now is try to figure out how can we improve the quality of educational opportunities that, you know what I'm saying, that exist across the board. So that's one of the main things that we're going to get ready to do. Hola, mi hermano.
Hey.
¿Cómo estás? Mi hermano, soccer.
No sé nada, ¿viste?
Pardon. We're playing in like 20 minutos.
Cancha.
Sí, but aquí, then todo niño.
Cancha.
Then
Cancha.
sí. Bien. Hola, ¿cómo está?
Tengo un brechero.
Sí. All right. Yuri's all the way at the very top, right? Mi mujer, Yuri, aquí. All right. 20 minutos.
Llevo.
Yeah, Muro. Hola, señor.
Me dio las 12
Hola.
Sí. Pardon, lo siento. What we're going to discuss first is just place of context. So Colombia has over 50+ million people in the nation of Colombia, of which at least 10% at a minimum are people of African descent, not including those who they often call mestizos, people who are mixed, right? So the result of that is
that mixed with what?
Huh? That could be mixed with indigenous population.
Right.
It could be mixed with the Spaniard,
right?
But the minimum, there's at least 10% of the nation that's Black. So we're talking about 5 million people. So what does that mean is that when you look at the entire African transatlantic slave trade, and you look at the number of people who are of African descent outside of the African continent, the number one place where the largest number of people of African descent were shipped during slavery, during the horrors and tragics of slavery, was Brazil. So you would have Brazil as being the number one place that has the largest number of people of African descent.
Right.
Then after that, you have, well, not in numbers shipped, but in raw numbers, is the United States. Then comes Haiti, then comes the Dominican, and then comes Colombia. That means Colombia has the 5th largest Black population in the entire world outside of Africa. That also means that, let's say, a nation like Jamaica, which is number 7, that means the Black population in Colombia is almost 2 times larger than the Black population in Jamaica. And so just think of how Black you think Jamaica is, and the number of Black people you think are in Jamaica, and recognize that Colombia's number is almost 2 times as high. Difference of 2.7 million over 5 million, at least definite Black people, and then people who we would say mulattoes that are mixed together. You could go anywhere between 10% of the country up to almost 25%.
So what does that mean when someone says they're morena or moreno?
Right, so what it is that this deals with racial classification issues, and racial classification also has classism related issues. So being Black has often been at the bottom of the totem pole. Anything in which you're mixed with anything else, besides being black, it's often lifted you up higher inside the class structure.
Right.
So often people have not wanted to consider themselves to be black. Instead, they would want to be anything but black, because that might perhaps open up more levels of jobs inside the civil service, as well as other levels of access through government and other levels of the economy. And so what you have is, you have, just like in Brazil, where you don't just have black and white, you have a variety of different racial classifications that are in Brazil. The same thing exists in other parts of the transatlantic slave trade. And so this is just another example of how it manifests itself here inside Colombia. And so you have the indigenous population. Colombia consists of basically 3 groups. Think of it like a three-legged bar stool. Right. You have people of African descent who were enslaved, who were brought here, right? Sometimes we falsely say African slaves, which is really, there's a history before that, right? It's Africans who were enslaved, so they had a history and culture that existed before slavery. They're not just African slaves, right? May seem like a small footnote, but it has a significant difference in mindset and understanding how you look. I
say the same thing.
All right, so you're looking at the African population, you're looking at the indigenous people. The indigenous people is a combination of a variety of different ethnic groups that consist of over 80 different factions of different indigenous populations that make up themselves, right? And then you have people who are of European descent, Spaniard. And the combination of those 3 provides the richness of what makes up the population here inside Colombia. And now the majority of people of African descent, let's walk in as we could. The majority of people of African descent that are in Colombia live basically on the coastline, right?
They call them costeños.
Exactly. So they live either on the Atlantic coast or the Pacific coast, because that's the implications of the transatlantic slave trade and where we were dropping.
Come where the water is.
Exactly. And so if you think about it from the perspective of European trade to the United States, the majority of people of African descent in the United States live on the Atlantic coast.
Right.
Even today,
that's why they call it the Atlantic slave trade.
There you go. Right. And so what you do is you have that same level of implication here, that over 500 years later, the majority of black people live on the Atlantic and the Pacific coast, while in the center of the community, there aren't that many black people. So a lot of times what we do, hola señorita, a lot of times what we do is we do neighborhood revitalization projects.
Okay.
So for example, we remodeled this particular section because we wanted to be able to show different levels of depiction of the color and ethnicity of people who are African and indigenous populations. Right. And so I work in conjunction, like my name is obviously James Guitar, right? But working in conjunction with the different communities, you know what I'm saying, as a whole. Right. And so it's a combination, you know what I'm saying, there. And so today, hola, ¿qué pasa, mi hermano? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Right. Soccer? Football? Yeah? All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play some football with the kids. Doing it. Miguel, aquí. Mi amigo, señor Zoe.
Señor?
Señor Zoe. Zoe. Mi hermano from Estados Unidos. Miguel is one of the young brothers inside the community. Miguel, he does a lot of art. Like, you know, he's very talented in being able to put stuff together. Football, huh? Excellent. So he put together different levels of artwork across the board.
No, I'm good.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're good.
Que no le gusta la manita.
Sí. Right? And so, like, this is another example of a mural inside the community, right? So it's about, this is where the kids walk through in the morning to be able to go to school. Right? And so the goal is to be able, let me take my backpack off. The goal is that in the morning, grandeza en ti, right? Which means that there's greatness in you. So every morning the kids will be able to see the message that there's greatness in them. Then it says right here, you're fabulous. To remind them every morning the fact that there's greatness in you and you're fabulous. In addition to that, they recognize that in order for us to succeed, we need excellence without excuses. Don't wait on opportunity, create it. those are the messages and themes that we want to be empowering our kids with. Then what this shows is the part of like the city skyline. This was done by kids. And it shows kids in different career occupations, right? Some of it has been battered down due to the weather storms, but you'll notice that none of the different career occupations have faces, including one is totally blank, because the goal is that kids can be able to visualize and see themselves in it. That's them. That's why it doesn't have faces. But ultimately, what's the message? Education has power. And what we want to do is we want to increase the educational opportunities, the educational success of children so that they can be able to build a society that is more prosperous and inclusive for themselves inside that of Cartagena and Colombia, because it's a wonderful city and a wonderful nation. In order to do that, you're gonna have to respect yourself, you're gonna have to respect your family, you're gonna have to respect your community, you're gonna have to respect your culture, and you're gonna have to understand that God loves you. So I think that this is, and what, you know what also that it does? It provides the children and the kids to be able to look beyond their own location and be able to see that there's an entire world out here. Sometimes the exercise is find out how many countries here speak Spanish. That's the official language is Spanish. How many of them are French? So it becomes a learning tool of trying to understand the different connections throughout the world of the different countries, as well as understanding some of the other different languages that exist. As a person who's traveled to Cali and been in different parts of, you know what I'm saying, in Colombia, one of the richness of Colombia is salsa. And so what we wanted to do is to be able to capture the essence of how particularly the Afro-Colombian community enjoys, celebrates, participates, as well as creates salsa for the entire nation as well as for the world. Now, also one of the things I want to point out is that we wanted to also bring a level of elegance and modesty to that of how the people look, so that therefore the kids can continually every day to be able to look at that and inspire, show a relationship and how that looks, how the kid has on the longer dress as a part of modesty, showing romance instead of lust. Right? And as a part of, then you'll see all the different hairstyles and pigmentation of that of the Afro-Colombian women, right? You'll see the men themselves and just how they present themselves as a whole. And then you see, like I said, once again, it's all about the elegance, the class, right? Of the culture and the people, the joy, the rhythm, and how all that connects, so that what we can do is we can be able to literally to be able to cut off some of the street on a certain night, and then we can actually have our own salsa night. So this is the model of what we're building, right? Literally right now. But then it will go from there, Umbrella Zoe, it will go all the way straight down the entire boulevard. In order to make this even a richer corridor for travel and everything else for the kids. And so then it have over here Bienvenidos, which is the like welcome, right? Then Barrio Chino, you know what I'm saying, the neighborhood. And now we're gonna come across some of the most iconic, we're gonna come across some of the, hola mi hermano. We're gonna come across some of our, this is the new walking art museum section that we're in the process of building, right? Is that we're building some of the murals that you've already seen are the earlier murals that we designed, but these are the more powerful ones that were recently constructed, because we're building a walking art museum that features Afro-Colombian art. So let's just take an example. Say like in this one, what you see is that throughout the women's braids, there are pathways. And so during slavery time, what they would be able to do is that they would literally, they would carve inside the braids the ability for people to understand the escape routes for how to be able to escape. That deals with those who were enslaved not only on the Atlantic coast or on the Pacific coast. Most people only reference the Palenque, which is on the Atlantic coast. But Palenque means wall city, right? And so there are wall cities everywhere. So in this one, what you'll see is you just see the how the different pathways of how a person will be able to escape. And what would happen is that if they turned out someone was finding out what was going on, they could actually just be able to destroy the pathway in the plan.
Right.
So what you see here is that sometimes the elders, they can't be able to escape. But what they're doing is that they're providing the pathway for the youth to be able to escape, because their time has come and passed.
Right.
But what they're still doing is that they're making a way for the next generation. And that's something that we have to do ourselves, is that we always got to find a way to make a way for the next generation, right? And so what you see is the ability here, and the artist I thought did a phenomenal, you know what I'm saying, job of just capturing that essence, showing some of the economic challenges that exist, being able to see how it often borders on an economy that is agricultural. So I just think it really helps you to be able to understand some of the challenges that existed during that particular time frame, and how through innovation and creativity, we found a way not only to survive, but to thrive. I look wild with the bag.
Nah, don't worry about it. Yeah, I don't think it makes a difference.
All right. So what you have here is you have then the aftereffect, right? Is that slavery, the escaping for slavery must always be done in secrecy.
Right.
And so this is reminded that this was a dangerous and risky endeavor to try to be able to escape from slavery. And so because of that, you needed everyone, including, that's why the image here, it's pointing at you and reminding you, you need to be quiet. Don't
be a
tell
snitch.
nobody. There you go. And so you see the brother moving, and then you see the power of the brother here pointing in the direction of what one thinks is freedom. Because one doesn't even know, one only knows that one is escaping from the hardship that one's in the hopes that this perhaps, this new destination, this new place might actually be a better place than where one is from, right? And so then you see the strength and the power of the brother both inside his physical posture and demeanor.
Nice.
And it captures the rough terrain. All right. All right. So we're gonna go. Hola, señor. Give me just 1 second. I'm not even gonna do something. Hola.
Hello.
¿Cómo estás? Mi hermano, señor Zoe.
Hermano.
Hey, hey.
Hermano.
Hey.
Stand back. When you film, I'm saying hello to you, whatever. All right.
Yes.
Come here. I can't. Say. All right. All right.
Just the
You ready?
whole crew.
Yeah. Say hola.
Hola.
Señor
Hola.
Zoe. Señor Zoe. Right? Mi amigo from Estados Unidos. ¿Entiendes?
Hola, hola.
See. See? Alright. We're gonna do, though, is what we're gonna do is we're gonna help pack stuff up. They don't know soccer. See? Football. Alright.
Hola. Hablo en español.
Un poco español.
¿Qué? Una cámara.
Ay, no que es una cámara.
No.
¿Te gusta?
Yes. Ese es el balón.
¿Te gusta?
Yes. Yes.
¿Ah? ¿Te gusta? Dime.
Sí, 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 sí.
Dime. Dime.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mi balón. Mi balón.
Wait.
Ya tengo un balón. Ay, deja el viaje. Mira, tengo un balón nuevo. ¿Qué le dan ahí?
You play basketball? Oh.
Muestra la cámara. Venga, para grabarlo.
You want to see the camera? It's your boy Zoe. I'm here in Chino, Cartagena, Colombia.
William, pásasela, William.
Barrio Chino.
Woo. Toma.
Rodriguez, Alex Rodriguez. They all retired. They don't play no more. What about Big Papi? You like Big Papi?
entienden nada.
Sí, papi, este es contra. Porque es de Boston.
Okay.
Entonces no te los míos. Manny Ramírez, sí. Pedro Martínez.
Pedro Martinez.
Mariano Rivera, Jackie Robinson.
What you know about Jackie Robinson?
Yo me vi la película.
See? Okay. You watched a movie about him? Okay. Babe Ruth?
Wrap it up.
You got it?
Escúchame. Muy importante beber agua. Mucha calor. ¿Entiendes?
Sí. Yeah.
Right? Okay, hold on. Wait. Right? Right? Put it like this. Like this. Like this. Put your hand like this. Like this. One hand. Ready? Let's go.
De selección, man.
Hand.
¡Qué bacán! También.
Wait. Stop. Hand on the shoulder.
Español.
Hand on the shoulder.
Español.
On the shoulder. Stop.
No.
Hand on the shoulder. Hand on
Video.
the shoulder. Hand on the shoulder. Back it up. Hand on the shoulder. Back it up. Hand on the shoulder. Back it up. Ready? Ready? This way. Turn. Ready? Mi hermano. Hand on your shoulder.
I got you.
Please.
I got
I
you.
can't be on some more. Ready? Let's go. Let's go. Stop. 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 Hand, hand, hand.
llevarlo para allá.
So I can keep order. Ready? Go. 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 Vamos. Vamos. Stop. Hand on shoulder. Hand on shoulder. Hand on shoulder. Go.
Tienen 50, aprovechen. Tienen 50, adelante, bienvenido.
Oh my God. No.
William.
Because it's very important that kids be actively involved inside all of our projects and initiatives. So what's happening now is that the kids are lining up, the kids who arrived here earlier, and they're welcoming the next bus of kids as they come in. All right, this is an exciting, great time inside Colombia for Afro-Colombian kids. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Cómo está? Mi nombre es James Guitar y estoy en Cartagena, Colombia. Y estamos juntos, unidos, día. Today we are united today. Today is a day for Afro-Colombian kids to be able to come together. Our foundation put it together as a way to be able to unite the community. Today was Clean Up the Community Day.